Here come the drums.
Live from the AM950 studios in the Twin Cities and restrained only by FCC regulations, this is Pardon the Dissent. Now here is your host and agitator, Joey Vincent.
Hello, Twin Cities. How are you doing? Hello to everyone listening, live streaming worldwide. I know I got some Kiwis tuning in tonight, probably. People all over the world are enjoying Pardon the Dissent, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are doing it. This is Pardon the Dissent. Today's date, September 21st, the year 2015. We have a special guest producer in tonight. If you're a regular listener of AM950, you're very familiar with this man. He is the producer and kind of, I don't know if I want to say co-host or sidekick of the Daily Report, an excellent show you used to be listening to. And also he is the producer of the Jack Rice Show, Mr. William Davis. Spit your name out right. How you doing, sir?
Joey, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing great. I'm very happy to have you. I'm a little nervous. You're like kind of like the godfather of production here. So I'm like, I don't want to screw anything up.
Far from it. So far, so good. And I have big shoes to fill replacing Tony.
Right.
He's pretty good at what he does. So
he's really good. And hopefully Tony's listening or something. Hi, Tony. Tony's fine. I don't know what he's doing. He's out doing something. Couldn't be here tonight. But we have William. Sponsor mentions real fast. Bell Bonds Doctor, that's our title sponsor. We love you guys. Natural Pure Drinking Water, thank you guys very much. Minnehaha Recording Company, thank you. Stupid Simple Branding and Scotty and the Don. You are the guys and gals that helped me put this show together. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you guys very much. You as the listeners, please go to pardonthedissent.com. pardonthedissent.com. Click on the sponsor link. When you do that, it takes you to this page with all these logos for all these great sponsors that we have, and you can click on those and go to their websites and see all their products and services that they offer, and then hopefully if you dig them, you can spend some money with them, and that'll help keep Pardon the Dissent coming in your ears. Also, when you're on the Pardon the Dissent page, check out the podcast options. I've got like multiple different sources, ways that you can listen to Pardon the Dissent, the live show. If you can't tune every single night, it's available as a podcast literally shortly after we air. And then also I do that once a week direct-to-podcast show that you can only listen to via podcast. So you can find all those options at, again, pardonthedissent.com. If you want to call in tonight, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll probably have at least time for one or two calls, and I do have a guest calling in about the middle of the show that's going to be talking about some issues involving first responders and cleanup crew around the 9/11 tragedy. That's going to be very interesting, so make sure you guys tune into that. But let's first warm up with some headlines in the news today. And this first one, I don't know about you, William. This is a fun one. This is awesome. Headline here from NewYorkTimes.com. Scott Walker quits the 2006 presidential race.
Oh,
are you happy?
So pathetic. Such a sad, whimpering exit from that arrogant jackass. Happy to see him go.
I expected more out of him. I don't know. I'll read a little bit of the story here. Short of support and cash, Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin saying he's been, quote, called to lead by helping to clear the field, end quote.
Okay.
Announced Monday that he was suspending his bid for the Republican presidential nomination. It's not clear if by called he meant God said hang it up, or if it was one of the Koch brothers. I don't know what he means by called. I don't have anything. Scott, this is Jesus. This is how Jesus talks in my head. Scott, this is Jesus. Wrap it up. We're done.
What's up, brother?
Pull down the tent. We're done here. We got to go back to Wisconsin and finish destroying that state. Get busy.
I'd say that's the bad news of the night is that he will now be back in Wisconsin, working in Wisconsin, and that's the bad news for the
with a chip on his shoulder too.
Yes.
Like he's going to really. It's like after a Green Bay loss, and all the husbands like smack their wives around. It's kind of the same thing now, but he's going to be smacking around the whole state because he's super angry. We haven't had a story about pee recently. Let's do one of these. This is from Countercurrent News, countercurrentnews.com. Americans want Congress members to pee in a cup to prove they aren't on drugs. Fair is fair. While Congress pushes for drug tests for food stamp recipients, most Americans like the idea of drug testing members of Congress even better. I do too. A YouGov poll found that 78% of U.S. citizens are in favor of requiring random drug testing for members of Congress. A full 62% said they strongly favor this, compared with only 51% who feel the same way about food stamp and welfare recipients. The support of this move was bipartisan at 86% of Republicans, 77% of Democrats, that's weird, and 75% of independents supporting the mandatory drug testing for members of Congress. Over under, what do you think? 50% on drugs right now?
I was thinking at least 35.
At least 35?
It has to be at least 35.
I know this. I know they're getting the best drugs. It's the highest quality.
Straight from the CIA.
Exactly, the purest ones. They get like ecstasy pills with little drones stamped on them, you know? It's the... Oh, killer. All right, this next headline here, a couple headlines. This is not going to be as funny. This one I'm getting from yahoo.com. UN appoints Saudi Arabia rep to lead human rights panel. Is that a typo? Nope, that's exactly what it says here. I'm going to read a little bit of the story. The United Nations has appointed Saudi Arabian Representative Fasih bin Hassan Trad as head, I have no clue if I said that right, as head of a key human rights panel that is tasked with naming experts to determine global human rights standards. This is real. This is not an Onion story. This is a real deal. Among those criticizing the UN for the appointment is a non-governmental watchdog, UN Watch, and Insaf Hadar, the wife of the imprisoned blogger Raif Badawi, who has been flogged in public in Saudi Arabia. Your thoughts on this one?
It is an Onion headline if I've ever heard one. That's not actually from the Onion. It's amazing. Probably the worst human rights violator short of North Korea in the world today, it has to be Saudi Arabia, right?
Right.
They're certainly in the top 3.
Right. Just if you need to know the current stats, 100 executions so far this year. These are done in the famous Chop Chop Square, where they just cut people's heads off in the middle of town. They have more beheadings on record than ISIS, you know? So, yeah, let's totally put them in charge of human rights. I think that's a good choice.
I wonder if they think women qualify under human rights.
Probably.
I would expect not.
That's property rights. I'm assuming based on this decision that pretty soon they're going to be putting Bill Cosby and Jared from Subway in charge of human trafficking rights as well, too.
I wonder if he'll have Henry Kissinger as his guide and get some assistance from him also.
We should have Henry Kissinger in charge of everything. That would just be the best. Guys, this is Pardon the Dissent. We got a bunch of interesting stuff to talk about tonight. We got a guest call in that you're going to enjoy. So, stick around, and we'll be right back with more Pardon the Dissent here on AM950 Radio.
I heard terrorism makes good television. It's no coincidence, and as a matter of fact, if it weren't guaranteed to be on television, there'd be less reason for a terrorist attack.
Hello?
Oh man, I'm really in a world of hurt now.
Really? How long have you been there?
I don't really know, but I have to be at work tomorrow.
Oh, man, you gotta call the doctor.
Really? But it's so late, and doctors make me nervous. Maybe I should just wait here and see if this gets any better.
No, trust me. The Bell Bonds doctor is always the best option, and he's available 24/7. Unlike other Bell Bondsmen, this guy is extremely trustworthy and professional. He can get you out in no time. give him a call.
One day, even you could find yourself needing the help of a bail bond service. That's why you should know there is a professional, dependable, and affordable option. Bail Bonds Doctor. Before you find yourself in this position, put this number in your phone, 612-332-3030. Available 24/7 at 612-332-3030. Online at bailbondsdoctor.com. The doctor is in when you need to get out.
Pardon the Dissent, AM950. Welcome back to the show. If you're calling in tonight, the number is 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. I am Joey Vincent, William Davis, pushing the buttons, making things happen. Let me tell you real fast about one of our sponsors here at Pardon the Dissent. That is our title sponsor, Bail Bonds Doctor. William, have you ever had to get the services of a bail bondsman?
I haven't had the need, no.
Not yet. Okay, well, here's what you do. If it ever happens, right, I don't know what your crime is, whatever you do on the free time that maybe will lead to that. I don't know, maybe having your beard in a non-beard zone or something. I don't know.
Sure. No, that's
I'm just making up laws. Whatever. It's whatever. If you get arrested, you don't want to be in jail. That's not a place you want to be. You want to get out of there. You want to get out of there immediately. And this is what you need to do. You need to call Bail Bonds Doctor. Bail Bonds Doctor is the only bail bonds company that I will trust. They are a very professional company with many years experience in the industry. Please go to their website, bailbondsdoctor.com, bailbondsdoctor.com. Read up about them. Learn how they can help you in those handcuffy type situations. And also put their phone number in your phone and save it because you might need to call them. 612-332-3030. 612-332-3030. Bail Bonds Doctor. The doctor is in when you need to get out.
Can we confirm Tony doesn't need them tonight?
We don't know. We don't know yet. Tony could be out there getting in some trouble. Who knows? All right. These next things I want to talk about here. I don't have a story to work off, going off the cuff on some of these things. Last night, the girlfriend and I took her son to Red Robin restaurant. That's his favorite restaurant. It was his birthday, so we took him to Red Robin's restaurant. When we get there, we're greeted by a very polite, wonderful staff. They take us to the table, and sitting right there on the table is a little computer screen, right? And I'm already getting nervous. I'm like, I don't like computer screens at restaurants. That always makes me kind of feel kind of weird right away. And we sit down. She starts explaining what it is. And this is, I forget the fancy name for it, whatever they called it. I'm calling them robo-servers. That's my word. Feel free to use it. And she explains to us that if you want to order an appetizer or if you want to order a specialty drink, you can just punch the buttons right there in the screen. And like magic, I guess, they go off to the Wonka facility in the back, and then they come out and bring it to you. And immediately I was like, wait a minute. Do I have to? I want to order through this? Well, if you want to order a specialty drink or an appetizer, you have to order through here. I'm like, well, I want to deal with a human being, all right? And I kind of started going off into my hey, let's protect the humans' jobs here and not, take away human jobs with robots type thing. And immediately I could tell that she has had these conversations before. This was not the first time that she had this conversation. And she was like, yeah, we've been getting this complaint a lot. So a few more details about the machine. If you want to pay with credit card now, you have to pay with credit card on the machine. So you have to deal with it in that aspect. Luckily, we had cash on us, so I paid cash. I did stay. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave like right then. I didn't even want to, spend money there at all. But it was the kid's birthday, and I didn't want to ruin it for him with my, crazy activism stuff. So we stayed there. But I only ordered things and made sure we only ordered stuff that we could order from her directly. We could order our entrees from her directly and all that. And also, just in case anybody's wondering, when a bill finally did come, we did pay in cash. I paid her as if we did order an appetizer. So not only did I pay her above 20%, I added like what the cost of an appetizer would be within that 20+% because I didn't want to take any money away from her. And then again, I talked with her and I thanked her and explained to her, a little bit more detail about why I was concerned about these things, and I told her, and she knew this. It wasn't like I was educating her at all because she got it. She knew what the deal was. This is a slow rollout to, and at least as I'm perceiving it, where how restaurants and other people within the service industry are going to combat the fight for 15 as far as a higher minimum wage, is they're going to start slowly taking the human element out from different, parts within their business model and replacing them with serve yourself type situations. And she totally got that, right? She knew that. It's like, yeah, I know, I get it. We've been getting lots of complaints. I talked to the manager after the fact. He's like, yeah, thank you for saying something. I honestly feel the same way. This is a fairly new thing for us. He wasn't happy with it either. And they said, and I felt really good to hear that they've been getting lots of complaints from many different people.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose even the manager of the place is taking his marching orders from the head company, right?
Right. Have you had any experiences with these kind of things anywhere else?
I've never seen one, no.
Okay.
I've never seen one.
He told me he went to another, I don't remember the place he mentioned, but he said that he got to the table and they handed everybody at the table an iPad. And he's like, what's this for? He's like, oh, that's for you to order. Like, it wasn't even like, right? It's like, you go, and he's like, yeah, it was kind of gross. But I guess the point of why I want to talk about this, besides just kind of alerting to you that this is one of the things that's happening, is this is like where the rubber meets the road as you as a consumer, that if you care about the world that you're in and you care about your fellow human, and you're one of those people who think that people within the service industry deserve a living wage like I do, right? These are the times where you need to kind of take a stand. Like I said, I stayed there. We spent money there, had a great meal. The meal was wonderful. The service was perfect. No complaints whatsoever outside of the robo server. It was great, but I did make a point not to order an appetizer, to take some money back away from the corporation. But again, tipped her as if I did. But these are the things that you need to do if this is important to you. Make the time to say something, let them know that you're not happy with this. I told them specifically, it's like, I'd much rather pay a little bit extra, a relative extra amount of money to compensate for the additional minimum wage, much more than I'd rather see the prices stay the same and then be forced to deal with the robo servers. And
not only that, but wouldn't you be okay, spending? I mean, don't polls consistently say people are willing to spend a little more money to know that the people who are delivering their food and preparing their food are making more money and having a living wage? The
ones that I see, I do. Yeah. In the personal conversations that I have, people are like, yeah, I totally get that. But I also wish that, corporate, and I left a very respectful but very curt message on their Facebook page as well, too, detailing my experience, why I was upset, and all those things, too. And at the very end, I'm like, I get it, you guys need to make money. That's fine. I expect you guys to make money. But how about instead of just focusing on that quarterly profit report that you guys are looking at every when you're making these decisions, why don't you just appreciate the human element for a little bit? And I think that's a good lesson for all of us, even beyond the scope of restaurants and doing business, is just understanding that we're I can't think of the word. We're getting rid of the value of humanity, right? Yeah, of course, it's going to save a little bit of money, and the corporation is going to lead to more profits, and all the shareholders within that corporation are going to make more money. But there's a value that needs to be appreciated by all of us in the fact that a human being has a job, is making a living wage, and they're serving us, and there's that, and beyond just the money aspect is that human interaction, right? Right? You don't want to do that. Do you want to get to every part of every interaction, every business transaction in your life? Do you want to be pushing buttons? Right? We already got our faces buried in cell phones. Why don't we appreciate the human element? Let's take a call real fast. My good friend Lynette from Chaska. Lynette, how you doing?
Fine, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing marvelous.
Well, that is good. Wonderful. Where was that place again that you were eating?
Red Robin was where I was at. I was in Red Robin in Plymouth.
Plymouth. Okay.
In Plymouth.
I was just looking it up online. Looks like Chili's is doing the same thing, and they're so proud of it. Wow.
Yeah, my girlfriend told me that they're doing. I haven't been there, but she said they do that there as well too. So this is the rollout, and then they do this. This is another thing I forgot to mention is on the little computer pad. Not only can you order your apps and you can pay with credit card and you can order your specialty drinks, but then they have like a little game panel on there that you can just play games, and they're trying to make it feel all warm and squishy and fun. Like, yeah, just play games on the Robo server that you're getting rid of jobs over.
So not only do you not have to talk to your servers, you don't have to talk with your friends and family now either.
Nope, you just play games and you eat your mountain of onion rings and you pay your bill and you get out and you shut the hell up. That's basically what you do.
The title here is it says tablets are making waiters obsolete and Chili's is leading the way. Hooray!
They're leading the way at destroying humanity and getting rid of jobs and well,
I'm going to complain right now. They have like a little email thing. So
Please do.
Right now.
This is easy activism that you can do every single day and that we all need to do. And I'll be quite honest. I'm not opposed to a little civil disobedience. And if I wasn't with my girlfriend and her kid, and I had some super glue with me, that credit card reader would have been filled. Guys, this is Pardon the Dissent. We're gonna go to break. We'll be right back with some more. Bye.
Go to country club prison, you dumb motherfuckers. I am the 1%. Yeah, you know my CEO corporate steez. Please overthrow governments overseas in a breeze. Politicians in my pockets for a few hundred G's. So if I'm ever in court, my assets are never freeze. I got a job in a house and a bank account when I'm out.
You support local businesses, so it's time you get to know the locally owned Natural Pure Drinking Water. They're a family business that's been providing water for the Twin Cities since 1986. Their water is purified using reverse osmosis, effectively removing chemicals such as salt, magnesium, iron, fluoride, lead, and calcium, as well as bacteria. Their water is also treated with ultraviolet light to protect against all airborne bacteria. Natural Pure Drinking Water carries a variety of BPA-free bottles. Their bottles include 5 gallons, 3 gallons, 2 gallons, and 1 gallon. Servicing their machines every 30 days. This means you have plenty of options when you're providing water for your home or office. Using Natural Pure Drinking Water makes excellent coffee, tea, and ice cubes, and you can find their water at many local retailers. They're online at naturalpuredrinkingwater.com, and be sure to check out their Facebook page. Ask for Natural Pure Drinking Water at your local grocery store and select co-ops.
Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not add up.
Pardon the Dissent. Back at you, AM950 radio, right here in the beautiful Twin Cities. If you're calling in tonight, the number 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. All right, we are in segment 3 here, and I have a guest call in that I want to bring on the line here, and he is a friend of mine who I've known quite a few years. He is a firefighter right here in the Twin Cities. He is also a stand-up comedian, and his name is Chris Klavetter. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Doing good. I'm glad to have you call in tonight, and I'm very happy to have you talk about a very important subject. Just in the past few weeks here with the passing of 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11, we spent a lot of time here on this show talking about the conspiracy angle of it, but there's so many other topics wrapped up in the events that happened on 9/11, and this is one that's very important to you, and that is the funding for the healthcare programs for the firefighters and cleanup crew at Ground Zero, and of course the first responders who the ones who were lucky enough to survive. And if I'm understanding this right, the funding for the healthcare and protection is coming up. Is going to be stopping soon. Is that right?
They're voting to defund it.
To defund it. Can you kind of give some details a little bit? You educate me because sadly I'm not very informed on this as much as I should be. Can you kind of tell the listeners about what's going on, how the funding's working, what the funding does, and why it's being stopped right now?
Yeah, actually, no one should hold you at fault for not being more educated on the issue. I'm sure most people didn't know about this until it was brought up by people like Jon Stewart and other people who kind of keep a pulse on what's going on in politics. You know, because it just seems like such an obvious issue. If you were a first responder who helped rescue people on 9/11 or cleaned up after the fact, and when I say clean up, you know, don't paint in your head that this is people who just showed up and moved some rocks and swept and shit. This is an issue with cleaning up rubble and debris to find bodies so that families could be at rest knowing where their loved ones, you know, were at once their bodies are found. It is a horrific issue for cleanup. It caused a lot of trauma in a lot of people and stuff, and it caused a lot of illnesses and sickness. One of the members who died from these incidents was James Zadroga, Zadroga, and there's a bill passed under his name in 2006 to provide health care benefits above and beyond what you normally get for anyone who had medical complications, health complications, after being a first responder or a participant of somebody who helped during the 9/11 rescue efforts or cleanup efforts.
Wow.
It's been extended once in December of 2010, and went into law again on January 2nd, 2011.
Yeah.
That wasn't an easy victory, though. There was a Republican filibuster.
Of course.
And the final vote was 57 in favor, 42 against, and it needed 60 votes to pass. They renegotiated from $7.4 billion of the bill appropriated down to $4.2 billion.
Right.
Because the Republican argument against this was, where are we going to get the money? Who's going to pay for it? It's the same argument they're having this time.
Right. Here's an idea. How about stop bombing a few people for a little bit and then maybe redirecting that money to taking care of the people who are sick? See, this is kind of the thing, and I'm going to blame my ignorance on this. Well, this shouldn't be something we have to think about, right? Like, this should be like, oh yeah, these are the heroes. These are the people that were rescuing people. These were the people that were there on Ground Zero the day that it happened. The ones that were cleaning up this should be not something we have to think about. Like, yeah, just cut the check, right?
Right. This is one of the few issues that people should be going, oh no, this is clearly something we do. This is clearly an American issue, and us as Americans show some respect, show some appreciation, and everyone should be on board. I did some quick math here, and I could be off, but I believe it's $25 per person is what you'd have to pay at the end of your year of taxes to fund this bill.
Right.
Who could you possibly meet that could say, well, no, that $25, I don't feel comfortable giving that to people.
Well, apparently
who are
a
dying
bunch of Republicans would be some of those people. This is crazy. Can you?
And the only reason.
Oh, go ahead.
And honestly, these soulless monsters, these pure sociopaths. The only reason they're making this sentiment and making us think about it is because that's what they believe their delegates want. And this is a very important part I want to get out to anybody who's listening. Please take the 1 minute or less that it takes you to call your representative and tell them that you fully support this bill. Because without hearing your voice, they're just going to assume your opinion. Right. And people like Tom Emmer here in Minnesota have voted against this time and time again.
Wow.
Now, Tom Emmer lives in a very rural part of the state where I'm sure not a lot of people up there dislike firefighters, dislike EMTs.
Right.
You know, so if he gets the word out that they will vote against him if he chooses to turn his back on these firefighters and EMTs and cleanup crews, then maybe it'll definitely cause him to think twice before he votes against this.
Right.
If his job's on the line, that's the only thing he cares about.
Yeah. That's kind of the problem that we have with all these issues is that this should be one of those ones that when we as citizens hear about it, know about it, we should do. It's an immediate outrage. At least it is with me. It's like we need to react to this right now. We need to make a lot of noise. We need to bang on pans, burn some torches, and get these people to understand that this should not be anything we argue about. Just cut the check. just get going. I got just a couple minutes here left with you, Chris. Can you tell me and educate the audience? Maybe some people who are listening now aren't really familiar with the symptoms or the medical issues that are happening. What are some of the firemen, first responders, medics, and cleanup crew? What are they suffering from right now?
Well, I'm going to tell you some numbers here real quick. On 9/11, 2001, 343 of New York City's firemen died that day. Firefighters died that day. 343. Since that day, 33,000 have died or have terminal illnesses related to 9/11. 33,000.
That's died or suffering, not total deaths. Okay, got it. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Died or are in the process of dying. We're talking about everything from intestinal bleeding to severe asthma, critical asthma, which can lead people to suffocate, essentially, on dry land. They can have a dry land drowning because of these complications. Pneumonia, cancers, numerous cancers from this, tumors. The list goes on and on and on. And they don't even know the full extent of how far this goes. I mean, you got to talk about breathing and some of the nastiest stuff.
And that's another question about the funding to me is like, why would we even put a stop to this? Why would there be like an end thing? Why don't just the end of the bill say, hey, we're just going to keep paying this money until either all the firemen have passed or we fixed everything? End of story. Why can't we just do that? This should be like it's something we have to do. It's just done. It's there. Much like the military. Something we have to pay for.
Yep. The only two sentiments I've read against it are that it's because one, they're wondering where the money's going to come from, and I've read a few people's opinions on here, and the only thing I can find that's a common link is that they say they're not going to support anything produced by Democrats because they're bashing Christians over and over again. That's what I keep reading. Yeah. I don't know how that is a thing. I don't know. I could go on for that for a while, but time is of the essence. And I want to get something out here real quick. If you are at all hesitant to call your representative to actually put forth some action in here, just remember, none of these people hesitated for a second before going in to save total strangers.
Exactly.
To put their lives on the line and willing to die to save a total stranger. So please show them 1 ounce of respect and take under a minute to call your representative, tell them how you feel.
Awesome. Chris, thank you for taking time tonight to talk to us about this and be safe while you're out there fighting fires yourself, man. Have a good night. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I
want. Are you a musician or songwriter looking for quality production and recording? Minnehaha Recording Company can help. With over 10 years of experience in recording and production, Minnehaha Recording Company offers recording, mixing, and mastering on any type of project, including full bands, hip-hop artists, and podcast production. For more info, visit minnehaharecording.com or call 612-564-8088.
I'm the president of the shadow government, the grand governor of the Federal Reserve, public enemy of the society, the one you cannot see, the 33-degree.
Pardon the Dissent, AM950 back at you. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And one more time, thank you to Chris Klavetter, fireman right here from the Twin Cities, coming on talking about an issue that's obviously very important to him as a firefighter, but should be important to all of us.
So my 911 magnet for my car isn't enough to support the troops?
Sadly, not enough. It doesn't remove illnesses from the bodies of first responders, unlike apparently a lot of Republicans believe. Just be a patriot, wave your flag in front of the sick fireman, and talk to Jesus, and everything will be fine. It's going to be good. We don't need to give him no money. One more time, I want to mention one of our sponsors here. Another one of our wonderful sponsors of Pardon the Dissent is Minnehaha Recording Company. The producer who is normally here, Tony Williamette, he is the owner and operator of Minnehaha Recording Company, and he has many years' experience recording sounds. So, like, if you want to make you're going to be a rock star, right? You want to be a rock star, right? You need to record a demo tape. So you need to go to Minnehaha Recording. Play a little instrument if you got an instrument, sing into the mic. He's going to record it for you, make it sound all pretty, and then boom, you're going to be a star. It happens just like that. Or maybe you want to do a podcast. Want to record a podcast? Go to Minnehaha Recording Company, record your podcast. become super podcast famous. That happens all the time. Go to minnehaharecordingcompany.com. minnehaharecordingcompany.com. You'll be able to hear samples of past work that he's done, learn all the ways that he can help you and all the services he can do for you, as well as seeing pictures of his awesome, beautiful studio. And then if you are ready, you're ready to put down some money and make a recording, call him at 612-564-8088. Again, that's Minnehaha Recording Company, 612-564-8088. Tony Williamette, Minnehaha Recording Company. Boom. All right. Here's something I want to talk about. Another thing I'm not really working off of a story on. I'm just kind of just doing it. Just doing it off notes. If you're from the Twin Cities, local listeners here, you know about this. And I would assume a lot of people who listen to the show nationally would also know about this. But this Sunday, there was another Black Lives Matter protest here in the Twin Cities. And it happened just prior to the Minnesota Vikings game. You know, super important sports stuff. The gist of the protest was that the protesters were going to block the light rail trains as they were going into the TFC. What bank is that? TFC.
Oh yeah, it's TCF Bank.
TCF
right?
Bank. That's what it is. Yeah, that's where they're playing temporarily while they build the new edifice to sports that's costing the taxpayers millions of money. But anyway, the deal was they were protesting that because earlier in the year, or last month, I guess in August, a young 17-year-old kid who was suffering, I don't want to use the word suffering, but who has a form of autism, had an interaction with the Metro Transit Police, which is the cops for the transit system, and it basically ended up resulting in him getting beat up by multiple transit cops, like beat up, like swollen lips, broken eye socket stuff. It was horrible. So that was the trigger point for this specific protest. The protest happened. They did some, what are called the die-ins, where they lay down on the road, they lay down on the tracks, they block the tracks. It never really caused any real interference because, they announced this ahead of time, and I'm sure this was part of their thinking, is that, they know that they're going to do something. This is more just kind of making a statement type deal. But the Metro Transit system provided buses to take people away from the stops prior to where the protest was happening and after. So it really didn't cause too much of a disturbance. But nonetheless, the point was made, and the protest went off. What I wanted to talk about, though, more specifically than the protest itself, and I've talked about this before, and I'm going to keep talking about it the more that I see it, because, God, this is a social issue that is just disgusts me, and that is the reaction that protest groups like Black Lives Matter, like Black Liberation Project, are getting from doing these protests. And when they happen, or when it was announced that it was going to happen immediately, it started. And you go on social media to links from wherever the stories were talking about this protest getting ready to happen, and it's the most hateful, uneducated, disgusting takes on and name calling and just disgusting points of view about this. And it's pitiful. It is. It's pitiful, and not just. I'm not just saying that as a white person responding to other white people. It's pitiful as a human being who appreciates other human beings, seeing other human beings who can't take the next step in their mind to understand, or at least try to understand, what's going on here and why these people want to protest. Right?
I mean, especially. A lot of these people claim they love America, they love the Constitution. Well, what about freedom of assembly? What about freedom of speech?
Oh, that Constitution is whites only, William? It's a whites only Constitution?
You have 3/5 of a right to protest at Black Lives Matter, I guess. But, they claim to love all these things, but when someone is exercising their rights, then, they deserve to be run over by a train.
Right. And that's some of the actual things that they said. Right? Like, I'm paraphrasing, but there was multiple comments made on social media. Well, I wish I was the guy driving the light rail. I don't know if you drive them or operate them. On the light rail train, I'll just run them over. That'd be my solution. I just do. So you're advocating murdering innocent people who are not committing any kind of violence whatsoever. They are simply doing the heinous act of civil disobedience and standing up for their rights. That's justification for you to do that. Well, they're breaking the law, Joey. They're breaking the law. You can't be on the tracks. There's a law about that. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to assume that there's a law. You can't do that. That's what civil disobedience is breaking small laws to make a bigger statement than what it was. Much like during the civil rights movement where the diner sit-ins,
the lunch
right?
counters.
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't legal. Surprise, it wasn't legal. You couldn't do that. You were breaking the law. Or
Rosa Parks at the front of the bus.
Or let me take a step further. This is going to really hit home for a lot of you guys. How about the Boston Tea Party? You think they own that tea? Did that belong to them? No, that wasn't their tea. They just dumped it in the water. You didn't say nothing about that. You didn't care about that. What's different, Joey? Them white folks standing up for white rights. That's what that is. You guys are disgusting. are ignorant beyond belief. And I try not to call out names and things like that. But that's the point that I'm at right now. Stop for a minute. Don't open your mouth. Don't hit your keys and stop. Look in through the eyes of other people. Understand what is going on here. Okay, they are protesting a 17-year-old kid with autism, okay, who got beat up because the MTC officers were at the very least, just not trained to deal with it. Who knows if there was a different level of aggression or different reason behind why they did what they did. We don't need to know that, other than the fact that we need to know that they need to be trained better. They need more training. And these are some of the responses I said to people. It's like, this is, we need to be concerned about this because this could be your family member, your kid. It doesn't have to be just a black 17-year-old kid with autism. It could be a white 17-year-old kid with autism. Don't you care about that? And people say, oh, police don't need any more training. The police are fine. People just need to follow the law, respect the law, do what the police say, and everything will be fine. Well, clearly, that's not what's going on. All right, I need to do a story that's going to make me laugh to get out of here in the last few minutes. This is from the freethoughtproject.com, freethoughtproject.com. I love those guys. Here's a headline for you. Get ready for this one. Pervert cop chased woman down as he masturbated. Luckily, she got pictures to prove it. Yeah, you didn't expect to hear that on AM radio, did you? Here it is. All right. While walking down the sidewalk this month, a vigilant citizen pulled out her cell phone and took photos of a perverted police sergeant exposing himself while harassing her. Instead of remaining silent and accepting his abuse, the 39-year-old woman notified the police and showed them the vulgar photographs. After a few days, the sergeant was arrested by the San Jose Police Department, and they put him on, surprise, surprise, paid administrative leave, right? So now, this is wonderful, right? Now he's getting to sit home and masturbate and watch Wheel of Fortune while getting paid by taxpayers. If only my life was that good. I'm trying to jump ahead to the most important parts of the story. And there's really not. After notifying the police, the woman showed the photographs to the investigators from the San Mateo Sheriff's Office. By running his license plate and the photo through the DMV database, the investigators discovered that the pervert in the pictures was San Jose Police Sergeant who had been with the department for 13 years. According to San Mateo County District Attorney Steve Wagstaff, the woman also identified Sergeant Mason through a photo lineup. I'm assuming that's a headshot lineup and not a junk picture.
What was that last name again? Wagstaff?
Wagstaff, Wagstaffe.
It's kind of what the guy was doing, I suppose.
Right? Wagstaffing it out. I don't know. That's the gist of the story. The guru was pleasuring himself, and she got pictures of it. And apparently now he's on paid administrative leave for his scheduled court appearance, which is October 14th. Black Lives Matter. Police officers who are masturbating in their car, their lives matter as well too. Pardon the Dissent, AM950 Radio. We'll be right back, guys.
The term foodie can sometimes come across as a tickle pretentious. BT and Lydia are here to demystify the term and reclaim it for the sake of good food. Their weekly podcast brings in fellow foodies and culture creators from the Twin Cities to talk about all things food. Find this duo only on the Alive and Social Network.
Picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on.
Pardon the Dissent. Came back just in time to say goodbye to you. William, I don't know if you're a regular listener to the show, but that's actually the second police officer masturbating story that we've done here on AM950.
Oh, wonderful.
In less than 5 months since we've been on air. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We appreciate you listening to the show, supporting the show. All you guys who are listening via podcast as well, too. We appreciate you listening, too. Thank you for sharing the show and helping get more listeners here. Also, thank you to the sponsors of Pardon the Dissent, Bell Bonds Doctor, natural, pure drinking water, Minnehaha Recording Company, and Stupid Simple Branding. Oh, and Scotty and the Don as well, too. All of our great sponsors. And thank you, William, for stepping in for Tony tonight.
Thank you for having me. It went really fast.
Yeah, it always does, man. Always does. What else? Oh, yeah, we'll have another direct-to-podcast episode available later on this week. I'll probably record it and release it Thursday night, so be prepared for that. And go to pardonthedissent.com to find all those podcast listening options so you can get a hold of that. We'll be back here also live next Monday night at 11 p.m. on Pardon the Dissent. But until then, keep seeking the truth.
Patriot, the flagship is out of stock. I hang myself at half-mast. It's the makeshift, the Patriot, the flagship is out of stock. I hang myself. Don't wave your rights with your flags. Terror,